check, 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with podcast number 68. Hey, today we're going to do the 5 questions sent in by real estate investors like yourself who had a question, needed an answer. And remember, if you have a question, send it to support@bsffacademy.com. One more time, support@bsffacademy.com. Before we get started, I got to tell you guys, what a great, awesome weekend I had. And, some of you know that I bought a Bentley. I think it was in January I bought it. Nice, beautiful car. Thing goes 201 miles an hour, 626 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4-point-something seconds. It is just gorgeous car. Well, Bentley sent myself and my wife, and then I invited 2 guests to go along with us to the Long Beach Grand Prix. Now, I had never been to a race, where they go around in circles, kind of stuff. It was just friggin' awesome. I mean, one of the races, they had these trucks that would jump and race and all kinds. It was craziness. It was like a fun race more instead of a serious race. And then they had the Grand Prix with the Indy cars. That was amazing. I mean, that was friggin' totally amazing. Going around in circles, but they're not really circles because they were using the street. So they're going left, they were going right, making turns, hairpin turns. It was cool. And then after that, I stayed for the Pirelli race where Bentley had 2 cars in the Pirelli race. And so the Pirelli race was Ferraris and Porsches and all kinds of really fast cars. And my Bentley, well, not my Bentley, but a Bentley just like my Bentley. Well, probably not just like my Bentley, but I'm trying to brag but not wanting to take the credit. But if I were bragging and taking the credit, it was my Bentley, okay? It came in second. It was cool. But you know what the really cool part about is here I set out last year, I had a goal, which I think is extremely important to set goals. Had a goal to buy a Bentley. Ridiculously stupid goal, but I wanted to do it, okay? And bought a Bentley, and then they go and send me to this race. And man, I just wanted to share with you folks who maybe are thinking about being a real estate investor and wanting to jump on the real estate investment wagon and just make some massive amounts of money, that, man, good things start happening. Sure, we're afraid we're going to buy our first house. Are we going to buy our first house? How are we going to buy our first house? I don't have any money, blah, 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 whatever it is. I understand all that fear. It's right there. It squishes you kind of stuff. It's all around you. But, man, when you get rid of that fear and you start living a life and you start having those things and doing those things that you just, even if you can't imagine doing them or ever wanting to have done them, as like I have going to this race. I mean, I never thought of myself of going to a Grand Prix race in my entire life. Was not on my bucket list. But I got to tell you, it was just pure excitement. It was fun. And I know some of the guys and gals that I get to work with on a daily basis, they listen to my podcast. And I just, guys and gals, thank you for helping me get what I need in life and what I want. I hope I give it back to you. And I appreciate you. And I just wanted to let everybody know, go live your dream. Go do it. Start. Get off the the fanny and just get out there and just go do that first deal, do that second deal, do that 10th deal, do that 100th deal, and just start and just don't look back. Just don't look back. Here we go. Question number 1. Would you buy a house in an area where the property taxes are relatively high? For example, if the house is in a good school district and the total taxes on a $300,000 house would be $12,000, I would absolutely buy that house as long as I wasn't the only one in the area buying those houses. Let's face it, a good school district is worth more property taxes, in my opinion. When my kids were really young, I had them in private school. So instead of the public school system, I was taking money out of my pocket, sending them to private school, which was tantamount paying more taxes because, it cost me more. But it was well worth it to my kids. They got a solid education as they're grown up. And so as long as I wasn't the only one doing it, I would do it. But here's the other thing to consider. My marketing algorithm is going to tell us if that area is something we should be marketing to. So if it falls in and says, yes, I raise my hand because I'm an area you should market to because I'm a successfully purchased in area kind of thing, where people were going to that area on purpose to buy and make profit off buying houses, then yeah, it's not a big deal. Hope that made sense. Question number 2, when deciding which areas to market to, how do you feel about an area that's considered a hot market? Would you specifically avoid that area since there's a lot of competition, or would you specifically target an area that has a lot of activity? I do not believe in competition. Let me tell you that in the beginning. I look at competition as one of 2 things. Now hear me out, and don't laugh at me. Don't drop don't turn the speakers off or the radio off or whatever you're listening with. But I look at competition as one of 2 things. It's either a benchmark of where I've been or a benchmark of where I'm going. So if I look at someone else out there that's buying houses and they're successful and they're doing a great job, and I look at them and I look at where they're at, and then can I relate that I've been at that spot? And can I appreciate them for doing that? I'm thinking, man, that's so cool. They don't even know the cool stuff that's going to come to them and feed them and inspire them. They don't know yet what's going to happen. That's not competition. I'm grateful for having those folks around me. But then if someone is a benchmark of where I'm going to be, oh, you talking about cool. To get to look at a company or a guy or a gal who's just tearing it up. And I get to sit and imagine myself where they're at with their success, doing all those right and positive things. Man, that's cool. So I don't look at that competition. That it's not part of my abundance and prosperity attitude. It's just not. And if it's part of yours, try to change it, okay? Because we don't compete for anything. What we do is represent who we are to people. That's all we do. And so if you feel like you're competing, take a different look at that. But as far as a hot market, absolutely. I don't care. National Association of Realtors, known as NAR, spends a bucket load of money every year advertising. And that advertising is basically propaganda telling homeowners to use realtors, which for some homeowners, that's the greatest thing that they could do. But they're telling homeowners, use realtors, use realtors, use realtors, use realtors, use realtors, use realtors. Well, we investors, we need our buddies, our peer group, our like types, because we don't have this national marketing thing going on. So we need to market in those hot areas too. You know what? And there's nothing wrong. If there's 2 or 3 of you, man, and you guys like each other a lot, and you hang out a lot, and you go, man, I can't share, what happened today with my friend because he's in the business too, and, I don't want him to make him feel bad. Well, stop that kind of stuff. Share. Tell him. Say, hey, I bought a house today. You buy a house today? No. Well, I'm going to hold you accountable. Tomorrow you're going to buy a house. Cool, I'm marketing in this area. I'm sending out this piece of mail. I'm doing it this way, and it's working. You know what? I'm in Bakersfield, California, and I own a huge marketing company for real estate investors for the country. People tell me it's the largest of its type, but let's assume it is for a second. There is not a single person who's asked me, can I buy your marketing piece and I want to market to your market? And I've said no. So in my city, I'm actually printing a few other investors' marketing pieces for them and sending them out. And some of them are my marketing pieces. And it's not a bad thing. If you can help your brothers and sisters and in your peer group and help people prosper and have abundance, please do. Don't fear that someone's going to get what you have or take it away or you're not going to get it because they're going to get it first. Don't think of life like that. And if you're in a hot market, absolutely, kill it. Just knock it dead. It's great. But our marketing algorithm is going to tell us whether we should be there or not. So just be there. Rejoice in being there. I mean, have some fun. Man, in a hot market, you know what you get to do in a hot market? You get to make money in escrow. So I buy something for $200,000. I can set it at a 60-day close. So during that 60 days, if a hot market goes up 4%, I'm going to make $8,000 more because I'm in a hot market. Man, they're great stuff. Man, there's less stress in a hot market. There's more demand in a hot market, both sides, sellers and buyers. It's great.
Thanks for listening to Buy, Sell, Fix, Flip. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 3. When a seller owns a house free and clear, what's the best way to set up the terms? Would you negotiate the amount down and then calculate terms off of a 15, 30-year mortgage amortization schedule? What's your practice on this situation? It really depends on the seller and what their needs are. We set our system and what we're wanting to what works for them. Now, majority of them, they're used to already seller financing it, so that's what they're doing anyway. So we just ask them about terms. Can you see yourself doing? You know, if they're absentee, they're collecting a monthly rent payment and subtracting the interest and the taxes kind of thing, or their payment kind of thing. So we just subtract those and say, okay, so if I can give you what you've been collecting on rent and for the next 15 years or 10 years or 5 years, whatever it is, we don't bring up interest unless they do. So, you know, we just start figuring out what's good for them. What do they want? You know, it goes back to the homeless guy we bought a house from homeless guy who had a house. Keep that in mind. And he was just, you know, it got to the point where it was too difficult for him to go over and collect rent from his tenant so he could feed himself during the month. You know, it's like $450 or $350, whatever it was. And he didn't want to get paid off because he didn't have a bank account. He couldn't see himself holding all these thousands of dollars being homeless. And so doing seller financing worked great. No interest. We just, you know, took the payment straight off principal. And it's what he wanted. It was a great thing for everybody. So, you know, you make the seller financing work the seller. And that's the reality of life anyway. Question number 4. What are the top 3 things new investors should try to glean from their mentor? Gosh, I want to say all kinds of crazy stuff on this one because I think it's a big question. But I don't know if I should, because I don't want people to hang up on me or stop listening to me, because I think, you know, the first thing that came to mind was a mentor or coach can't make anybody anything. They can't. We can't. I cannot make a duck into a chicken. I don't care how much I tried. It already has to be a chicken. It already has to want to be successful. It already has to have an understanding of what success represents and the requirements of that success. But if I had that, and when I have that, then I can make that a super chicken. Man, be like the chicken who was the mascot at the Long Beach Grand Prix. I can make that person into a highly successful real estate investor, but they've got to be one. They've got to want to be one. And then they've got to know what it is to be successful. And I don't mean they have to have made a lot of money in life. They have to have had the ability to do something that required them to do it, like go to college and get a degree, be in the military and follow rules, raise children, kind of stuff. And you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you've never had to show up for work, and then you ask a coach to coach you to be successful, it's probably not going to happen. I don't care how good the coach is, because you don't have that thing of success where, you know, if you were a Marine and you had 4 tours and you survived and you came back and said, I want something different, yeah, you've got it. You understand. Or if you're an engineer or attorney or a nurse or something, you've got your master's, your bachelor's, your doctorate, whatever it is. Yeah, I can tell that person understands what it takes to be successful. So I don't know if there's anything that you can get from your mentor. I can sure give you a lot of hoorah, which is really important for a lot of people. And I can hold you accountable, which is really important for a lot of people. And I can tell you when you're doing a fantastic job and when you're doing a crappy job, which are both very, very important for a lot of people. But you've got to be doing the job. My job as a coach is to make sure you don't drown, because we're going to put you in the water. And we're going to teach you to swim, but while you're swimming, it's going to be tough. But eventually, you're going to be right there at, gold medal swimmer kind of thing, and swimming on your own, and, go help someone else at that point, pay it forward kind of stuff. But, if I was going to hire a coach, I'd want to make sure they knew today's real estate market, so they were buying houses today. They could afford me. They understood marketing. Not trying to describe myself, but it kind of is. They absolutely understand negotiation and the idea that two people talking is not negotiation. There's a lot that I would really be critical of in a coach that I would hire. I'd want him to be fair and honest, and I'd want him to hold me accountable. I'd want him to get out of my way when I needed it and dunk my head in the water sometimes to make me drink when I needed that too. Anyway, great question. I don't know if that was the answer you were hoping for, but that's a big question. It's a lot about. We talk a lot about spirituality in life, and that's one of those areas where maybe it wouldn't be necessarily with a theology perspective, but there's a lot of emotion that goes into that. The answer to that when it's really discussed deeply between 2 or 3 people. Question number 5. In podcast 12, you said you do not direct mail trusts. What if the trust is borrower 2? Would you still exclude them? Yeah, I'm just saying I don't market to trust because they're too like-minded. It's like trying to negotiate with me. Nothing would get accomplished. And so I exclude trusts, LLCs, and corps. I am testing that, however, at the very moment, and I have yet to buy a trust. But I've got a few thousand pieces that are earmarked for trusts, and again, we have yet to buy it. So my theory that I've lived by for a long time is proving itself again, but someone kind of challenged me indirectly with a comment that they made. So I wanted to challenge myself a little deeper as well, and so I marketed to some trust, and it's a waste of money. But I'd rather waste my money at the stage of life I'm in and then pass on to you what I know and what worked and what didn't work, so that maybe you won't have to waste your money in the stage that you're in, kind of thing. Just kind of like what I like do. So if a trust showed up on my marketing as a second owner or borrower, yeah, okay. I'm going to send the first person a letter, and if they have a partner or borrower or 2 that's a trust, I guess we're going to market to them. But again, I'm hitting trust right now. I'm not getting any success out of it. Guys and gals, thank you so much for listening to that. I hope I didn't sound too tired. I drove all the way back into town today. So it was a long road trip today, but I wanted to get this podcast in before I went home and enjoyed my family. My mother-in-law, who's 83 years old, she's so cute. She is absolutely so cute. Whenever we go out of town, she lives with me. So whenever we go out of town, we get her what we call as a babysitter, which is kind of cute because she's not a baby. She's 83 years old. And so we found this person through a referral who, my mother-in-law speaks Spanish. She speaks very, very little English. And so she's been with this brand new person she, had just met a couple days ago before we took this trip. So I can't wait to get home and love on my mother-in-law. She's such a dear person, and I just hope she had a great time with her new friend. And I hope that worked out good for her. But it's hard for us to leave my mom-in-law alone in our big house, not loved kind of stuff, because it's lonely. No one would want that for themselves or anybody else. But anyway, until next time, sorry I'm just rambling. You guys take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.